In this scenario, the client application connects to a Windows service using TCP. The service is hosted on an application server and connects to a database. This is an outline of steps used to create and test the service. Create and configure the service, create and configure a Windows service, install the Windows service, create and configure a test client, test the client and the service. This example supplies four calculator methods. The methods are defined in the interface definition and implemented in the calculator service. The Windows service requires a special Windows Service Designer. You can add the designer from the Add Component menu after creating a blank project. Windows services require special onStart and onStop methods. These execute when the service starts and stops. The start method creates and opens the service host. The stop method closes the service host. The project installer defines the service account and service name. The app.config file is set up in the same way as with a non-Windows service. You must supply a base address, contract endpoint, and message exchange endpoint. The service contract methods are exposed via TCP, and the service metadata is exposed via HTTP. Configure the binding security to use message security with Windows client credentials. Configure the service behavior to HTTP get enable equals true to expose the metadata for client proxy generation. A WCF test client program calls the WCF Windows service in the same way it would call a non-Windows service. Create the calculator client object using the proxy file that was generated using service-util. The client app.config file defines the endpoint address, binding, and contract. The endpoint address maps to the service TCP address. In order to run the WCF service as a Windows service, you must install the service executable. If there is a previous version of the service, first stop the service and uninstall a previous version of your service using the install util/u command. If necessary, then install the service executable as a service using install util command. Once you've installed the service, you may start the service using the net start service name command. In this case, the service is named WCF Windows Service Sample. Once the service is installed, it should appear in the Services Control Panel application. Test the service by running the client application.